So the number one reason that small business owners don't grow or do as well as they could is FTI. The number one reason that people don't reach their goals and dreams in life is because of FTI, failure to implement. The question is, why do people not implement? Help me out here. Why do people not implement? Fear? Okay. Great. Someone else. Time? Lack of knowledge? Distractions. Yes. All of that is true. And I'm here to tell you why people fail to implement. But I have a couple questions for you. We invited business owners. How many business owners are in the house? All right. I want to ask you this question. Do you remember why you went into business for yourself to start with? Was it to make a lot of money? Or was it really to be your own boss, to chart your own course, to have a little more free time? Yeah, right. The brutal reality of most small business owners' lives is you feel like a slave to that business, very little family time, business consumes your mind 24/7, major stress, no real freedom. You feel like you have a job instead of a business and your day is consumed putting out brush fires. In fact, the only time that you have available is Friday night. That's why you're here. How many of you know what I'm talking about? All right, perfect. Well, I know how that is. I'm originally from LA, Lower Alabama. And my wife doesn't laugh at my jokes either, so it's okay. And but actually, I grew up on welfare in Mobile, Alabama. There were 7 kids crammed in a little 600 square foot shack, and the roof on that house was so bad that every time it rained, we had to get out all the pots and pans to catch the leaks. My mother fed us on $100 a month from the welfare department. When you grow up in an environment like that, what are you likely to turn out like? For me, it was a rebellious teenager, 18 years old. I got kicked out of the house. I had no money. My friend and I bummed up enough money for a Greyhound bus ticket from Mobile, Alabama to Houston, Texas. I arrived here literally with 25 cents in my pocket. I became a waiter right here in Houston. There was a restaurant here back in the day called the Rivoli, and I worked as a waiter at the Rivoli, and we did all this tableside cooking like steak Diane, bananas Foster, cherries Jubilee, and setting stuff on fire inside at that age was pretty cool, let me tell you. But I always wanted to have my own business, but I was still just really making just enough money really to pay the rent. Then I met my wife, Denise Conjette Antoinette Pinella. Now that's Italian. She's from New Jersey, and I'm from where? Lower Alabama. This is going to be a good match. And so my dad buys me a pinstripe suit, and Denise tells me to keep my mouth shut because I have an accent, right? Well, when we go to New Jersey to get married, and I go to get married in this Italian family, when you marry into an Italian family, you don't get wedding presents. What do you get? You get cash. We got $3,000 in wedding money, and there was a friend of the family, same age as me, 23 at the time, tooling around a little red Mercedes convertible, and I said, I want to know what that guy does, and I want to know if it's legal. Well, turns out he owned his own business. So we get back from our honeymoon, back here to Houston. I spend that entire $3,000 starting my first company out of the trunk of my car. Denise was really thrilled about that, let me tell you. But because of many of you in this room right here, that company became a multi-million-dollar company. It's turnkey. We've got a great team, great systems in place. It runs without me. It's turnkey. It's predictable. It's profitable. It's amazing, and allows me to do what I'm called to do, which is what I'm doing now and helping small business owners around the world. So for the last 22 years, I've been helping small business owners become more successful. In 2008, I had Mr. Zig Ziglar on our stage, and I got to know Tom Ziglar, became the first Ziglar Legacy Certified Trainer, became their exclusive small business coach, and now I help Tom run that company. This picture right here was taken in front of Cambridge University. Tom Ziglar and I spoke at Cambridge on behalf of the impact that Zig Ziglar's message had on small businesses worldwide. And there were deans of colleges there from all over the world. I barely got out of high school. I think Pierce Bush earlier said it doesn't matter where you came from, where you're coming from, it matters where you're going. So this idea of FTI, I finally got around to writing this book, and I want to share with you today why, after coaching business owners and individuals and leaders to success for the last 22 years, why we fail to implement. I want to get to the root of that, and then I'm going to share with you what I call 10 principles of phenomenal performance. How many of you know that if you want to reach your biggest dreams and goals that you got to perform at a pretty high level? Is that right? So I call that phenomenal performance. Everything in my life is phenomenal now because my company name is Phenomenal Products. So as it gets a little bit later, I'm going to ask you how you're doing, and your answer is? Phenomenal. All right. So the fact is that people change. How many of you know that it requires change to get to where it is that you're going? People only change through desperation or inspiration. People only change through desperation or inspiration. The problem with that is that with desperation is that once you get back into the comfort zone, what's going to happen? You're going to slide back into your old habits. But if you can reach that level of inspiration, the difference between motivation and inspiration is something that's kindled on the inside. There's a fire that's happening on the inside. Zig Ziglar said that the secret ingredient of success is desire, and that desire comes from a vision. The secret ingredient of success is desire, and desire comes from a vision. If you don't wake up every day with a vision for your health, for your finance, for your business, for your family, for your spiritual life, and a vision so compelling that it inspires you and drives you, you're not going to reach your biggest goals and dreams. Does that make sense? Now, there's something deeper than desire and vision. If we don't have the desire to do something, it's because we don't have a vision, and we don't have a vision or we don't have a compelling vision because of a little word called belief. Maybe we don't believe in ourselves. Maybe we don't believe that it's possible. Maybe we don't believe that the juice is worth the squeeze. I'm going to do all that work, and it's just not going to really work out, right? Maybe I don't believe because of the economy or because of the weather or whatever the case might be, the condition of the industry. But the fact is that it's all about belief. It's all about belief. So you have two ways to live. Another word for belief is faith. Another word for belief is faith. Now, faith is a little bit of a different word there, but faith means that I believe that something is going to take place. I believe that there's going to be an outcome, even when I don't know how that's going to take place. You understand what I'm saying here? Okay, so we can either live by faith or we can live in fear. Part of our fallen nature here on this earth is that we were introduced to something called fear. Now, we have an acronym for fear. Does anybody know what that acronym stands for? False evidence appearing real. See, God gave us a phenomenal imagination. We just used it in the wrong way. We imagine something happening to us that is negative rather than positive. Now, if we expected good things, that's going to change. We'll get to that in just a minute. So if I have faith, I'm expecting good things to happen. If I have fear, I'm expecting bad things to happen. And guess what's going to happen to me? I'm going to act accordingly. I'm going to act accordingly. So what happens is, because of our beliefs develop the philosophy of life and the principles that we live by. Does that make sense to everybody here? And the principles you live by, positive principles, intensify phenomenal performance. Because when you have belief, when you have strong principles that you live by, your faith is going to intensify. And I'm not talking about just spiritual faith. I'm talking about belief that something's going to happen. I'm going to have a level of intensity if I know that this will work. I don't know how it's going to work, but I believe it's going to work. I believe that I can accomplish this. I believe I can reach this goal. I believe that this dream will come true because I have faith. and I live by certain principles that allow this to take place. And I'm going to share with you 10 principles tonight out of this new book right here in your handout. The first one is what I call the potential principle. The potential principle. The potential principle says this, that understanding your potential impacts phenomenal performance. How many of you saw the movie Ford versus Ferrari recently? Wasn't that a phenomenal movie? I did a keynote on that yesterday morning here at the conference and unpacked the lessons from that movie. Carroll Shelby believed that this could be done. He believed that it could happen. He built the fastest car on the planet at that particular time. He believed that if Henry Ford II would put the right driver in that car, that they could win Le Mans. Never happened for an American ever before. They won it that year, and an American automobile and driver won it 4 different times after that. In fact, Ken Miles, even though technically he didn't win the Le Mans, he won it, but it was taken away from him on a technicality. But because of that car, because of that belief, and the theme of the movie was know who you are. Know who you are. Years ago, when I was starting my first business, and again, thank you all for supporting me and my wife over the last 35 years. Our service company here in Houston, Clean as a Whistle, is 35 years old now. I can't believe that it's been that long. But I used to go to this networking group. And the guys, it was every Monday morning, and the guys in this industry had a severe case of what Zig Ziglar called stinking thinking. They needed a checkup from the neck up, which, by the way, stinking thinking leads to a very deadly disease called hardening of the attitudes. And I came strolling into this little meeting every Monday morning. They're complaining about the economy. They're complaining about their customer. They're complaining about their supplier and everything else in the industry. And I came waltzing in the door and strolling in the door with a sport coat on and carrying a briefcase, a positive attitude. This is a true story. They literally laughed at me and they said, "Who do you think you are, Zig Ziglar or somebody?" That's a true story. I had not even met Zig Ziglar at that point in time. And today I run his company. So if somebody asks you, who do you think you are, you might want to have a good answer for them. As a matter of fact, the greatest thing that I learned from Zig was this quote that's on the screen right there. You are what you are and where you are because of what has gone into your mind. You are what you are and where you are because of what has gone into your mind. You can change what you are and where you are by changing what goes in your mind. So if you have a goal, right, and you want to get somewhere, how many of you know that Mr. Zig Ziglar said that you have to be before you can do, and you have to do before you can have? So I think that we get the part that if you're going to have something different, you got to do something different, you got to change, you got to perform, you got to implement, right? But I think the part that we don't understand is that how we think of ourselves, how that impacts our behavior. In fact, Zig Ziglar said this about you. He said that man's born to win, that you're designed for accomplishment, engineered for success, endowed with the seeds of greatness. After all, God don't make no junk. I'm telling you that you're a phenomenal product, created to be phenomenal, to do phenomenal things, and to have a phenomenal life. And I tell everybody everywhere I go, I tell them that. I ask them if they know that they're phenomenal. I don't care if it's the front desk clerk. I don't care if it's the waiter or waitress. I travel all over the world and ask them, do they know why they're phenomenal? Because God made you, and God don't make no junk. Everything that God makes is phenomenal. The question is, do you know it? And do you act like it? And do you accept it? How many of you, by the way, woke up this morning, looked in the mirror and said, I'm born to win, designed for accomplishment, endowed with the seeds of greatness, engineered for success. I'm a phenomenal product, created to be phenomenal, do phenomenal things, and have a phenomenal life. Anybody? Did you do that? Maybe we should. And isn't that incredible that I traveled with Zig, shared the stage with him, and Tom and I have traveled all over the world. You see, when you change your thinking, you change your beliefs. When you start to think differently about something and you accept that things might be different than how you thought about it before, when you change your thinking, this man on the back row right here, Jerry Wiles, one of my mentors, he told me one time, you probably don't even remember this, we have lunch once in a while, and we were talking about leadership. He's one of my leadership mentors, and he said, leaders help others think about things they've never thought about before. How many of you know that at some point in time, the lights have to come on? Wow, I can be healthy. Wow, I can have a great relationship with God. Hey, I don't have to be broken in debt, right? When you change your thinking, you change your beliefs. When you change your beliefs, you change your expectations. That's called faith. When you change your expectations, you change your attitude. I was at the front desk earlier today and in this very hotel, and I had a late checkout, and then I didn't check out, and then I need a later checkout, and I didn't contact the front desk, and Michelle was doing stuff, didn't want to bother her. My keys wouldn't work, and so I had to show her my driver's license. She looks at my driver's license, she said, boy, you sure, how was you so happy at the DMV? I mean, nobody's happy at the DMV. I said, because I'm phenomenal, and so are you. And so we had what I call the phenomenal talk. Your attitude's going to change. How many of you know when you're expecting something bad to happen, your attitude's going to be in the toilet, but when you're expecting something good to happen, your attitude's going to be phenomenal? And here it is. When you change your attitude, you change your behavior. That's called implementation. When you change your behavior, you change your performance. When you change your performance, you change your life. The second one is the picture principle. The picture principle. The picture principle says this: a compelling picture imagines phenomenal performance. I had a dream. I grew up in Mobile, Alabama, and we went to the beach, to the Gulf Coast a lot. I fell in love with Destin, Florida, and I found this little piece of property on the edge of my favorite beach, 3.5 miles of unspoiled beach, and I saw a lot there. I couldn't afford it. There's just no way. It's just impossible. But I set a goal, and I said, I'm going to own a piece of property here, and I'm going to build a house here. And that was in 1997. I had that dream for 20 years. And in 2010, I think we bought the property. We built a house there. And we had that's a pretty cool place to fall in love with, isn't it? Those were taken with my iPhone from my beach. I mean, incredible. We built the house. We had a visitor, and the visitor came over and said, wow, it's really beautiful. How long you been in here? And I said, 20 years. I thought the house was brand new. I said, it is. He said, why do you say you've been living here for 20 years? I said, because I've been living here every day in my mind for 20 years, and that's the truth. See, Mr. Ziglar said that you cannot reach a destination that you cannot see. You cannot perform inconsistent with how you see yourself, right? So you have to see yourself winning. You have to see your dream coming true, and that picture has to compel you. So if you find yourself not doing the things that you need to do, what that means is you maybe don't believe in yourself or you don't believe in the picture. One of the two. The third one is what I call the purpose principle. The purpose principle says this: knowing your purpose inspires phenomenal performance. Knowing your purpose inspires phenomenal performance. This is my 8th book. My next book is called Phenomenal Youth. And the reason I'm writing a book for young people is because child suicides are up 100% in the past decade. Children. Are you kidding me? Children in the United States of America, in the land of freedom, in the land of opportunity. Are you kidding me? And here's why. Zig Ziglar said something one time on a tape. It was like one of those secret hidden tapes. I've listened to thousands of hours of Zig Ziglar. I represent that company. I want to know every quote word for word, and I want to know everything about that man because he had a complete, true American legend and had a complete philosophy of life. And I heard him say one time that I don't even know what tape it's on because it was like one of those odd little things that he said somewhere on some tape that's not one of his well-known quotes. And he said this. He said, one of the most tragic things that ever happened to this world was the belief in evolution. No wonder people act like animals. Yeah. The reason that young people don't have meaning is because they think that they evolved from a monkey and that the only way that they can be, or a fish or whatever, however you want to describe it. I don't care what you call it. It's not true. It's a lie. And so this book called Phenomenal Youth has 7 lies that you've been taught. But if I understand that I've been created and that I've been created for a reason and that I have a purpose, now I can have meaning in my life. I may not know what that specific purpose is yet. I didn't know for sure until 2009, believe it or not. I was doing some good things, built a couple great businesses, helping people, but I didn't know truly what my call was. When Billy Graham passed away, you know, when someone passes away like Kobe Bryant recently, there's all this coverage, this news coverage stories you would ordinarily not hear, right? There's just no reason to share all of those details. And so after Billy Graham passed away, I listened to hours and hours and hours of coverage about his life. And there was an interview where they were interviewing Billy Graham, and he said, you know, there were many times when I took that long driveway down the mountain that he lived on, his family lived on the top of in North Carolina, and he said, I just wept knowing that I wouldn't see my family for weeks. He said, but the call of God was so strong on my life, I had to answer that call. God will reveal your purpose. In this book, I have a little purpose exercise that'll give you some clues about, you know, maybe why you're here and what your purpose might be, where you can find it. I had to have some help finding it myself. Number 4 brings me to the people principle. The people principle says this, that the right people influence phenomenal performance. The right people influence phenomenal performance. If you want to perform at the highest level, I'm going to give you my greatest life lesson right here. The greatest life lesson I've ever learned right here is you'll be successful when you find the people who are the people or person that's already where you want to be, who's done what you want to do, and knows how to get you there. See, if I want to be debt-free, I need to hang around somebody who's debt-free. If I want to be a better family man, I need to hang around people who are great family people. If I want to be a phenomenal marketer, I need to hang around people like David Fry, because I'm not a very good digital marketer. I had 3 digital marketers here yesterday, and one of them was on the stage. And Don Schmidt here is one of my clients. He went from $20,000 the whole year in October of 2016. He lives in Amsterdam. Became my client. This year he'll do $1.1 million in business. And he's doing it as a digital marketer. He's doing webinars. We got another guy that runs our Ziglar Facebook page. I don't know that stuff, right? I need to learn from them. And Dave walks in. I ran some local ads recently to get people to my conference and everything. He walks in the door and said, man, we got to work on your ads. I was like, come on. You know, because I'm like, dude, I'm an open book, man. Just cut me open, get it all out, because I know that I don't know. How many of you know that you got to be aware of something first, and then you got to be willing to change, then you got to focus, and then you got to be committed to that change. And after a while, you'll do it with ease because it becomes a habit. So if I want to be a phenomenal marketer, I got to hang around phenomenal marketers. If I want to be a phenomenal leader, then I got to hang around phenomenal leaders and learn from them. Your community, the people that you hang around, that's what's going to influence your life more than anything else. Why is this man that I know? His name is Bill Beckham. He's 81 now. And some of you in this room know him. He was my early mentor. And Bill Beckham had this crazy gift. He and Ralph Nader had the same gift. And they could spend time with you and almost just see through all the outer part of it and just like put their finger on the real issue. He helped me find my gift. Your community, your coaches, your mentors, those people will help you find your gift. They'll help you understand your potential. They'll help you see a clearer picture. They'll help you to find meaning and purpose in your life. I almost made this the first principle because it's that important. It's that important. The people around you. Are the people around you supporting you, encouraging you, and helping you be accountable to be the person that you need to be? And are you helping other people do the same? I want to be a great leader, so I started hanging around people like John Maxwell. Michael Gerber wrote a book that changed my life, The E-Myth. At that time, my business was very small. I was a slave to that business. And I read Michael Gerber's book, The E-Myth, and changed my business, changed my life. Started having Michael come and speak at our conferences. And that picture right there, his wife asked me personally to introduce him on his 80th birthday. Dave Ramsey endorsed one of my books last year. So you go find. The reason that I follow these people is because you go find the people who are the best at what you want to do, and you learn from them. I don't care how much it costs. It's an investment. Number 5 is the planning principle. Proper planning initiates phenomenal performance. Proper planning initiates phenomenal performance. See, you're born to win, but in order to be the winner you're born to be, you have to plan to win and prepare to win before you can expect to win. But when you plan to win and you prepare to win, you can expect to win. I've been on a track, not Jerusalem and Chicago, but I've been on a track of Springfield, Missouri, ice storm, Tampa, next day Orlando, and back to Clearwater, and then to Dallas, and then to home, and then do a conference. By the way, have a book launch, a big book launch along the way, 5 or 12 or more other projects along the way. And so I kind of feel like Donald Miller right now. Actually, I think he's got more energy than me. And this is like the last hoorah, right, of just, of adrenaline. And tomorrow, my wife and I are going to we're going to St. Martin tomorrow to spend a week on the beach in a big house with some friends and just chill for a week. But you got to plan the trip, right? You can't, what comes first, right? So Zig used to say this. He used to say, all right, imagine that a friend of yours calls up and says, hey, Howard, he says, look, I got 2 tickets to Hawaii. All expenses paid. Want to invite you and Denise to go to Hawaii with us for a whole week. And, this is somebody you love spending time with. And all expenses paid. The only problem is we leave tomorrow morning. You going to get some things done tonight? Yeah. You're going to start getting some things done, and you're going to prioritize those things. So we have a little business planning process that we use in our inner circle to help our clients plan their business. Number 6 is the priority principle. Living by priority ignites phenomenal performance. The question is, what's important right now? See, each one of these has a very important question behind it. What's important right now? If you put the same attention on everything and make everything as important as the next thing, then you're not going to get anywhere. We've got to prioritize. So, going to St. Martin, what I need to go to St. Martin? Better have an airline ticket. Better have a ride to the airport. I need bathing suits, but I could probably buy those when I get there, okay? So that's way down the list, right? I can get suntan lotion. So you got to prioritize. There was a great book that was written by Gary Keller. Gary Keller was the co-founder of Keller Williams Realty, and Keller Williams Realty became the largest residential real estate company in the country, probably in the world. And he wrote a book called The One Thing, and The One Thing is all about focus. It's all about focus. And there's a question called the focusing question in that book that goes like this. What's the one thing I can do such that by doing it, that everything else will be either easier or unnecessary? Okay? Let me get some examples. Give me an area on this screen right here. Spiritual, physical, personal, relationships, for your job, for your business, for your finances. Give me an example. More sales. Okay. So what's the one thing I can do to get more sales? All right? Somebody give me an answer. Better marketing. Make more calls. Okay. So what's the one thing I can do to get better marketing? Buy coaching. What's the one thing I can do to make sure that I get the right coach? Ask for a referral. All right? So you see how you drill it down to the one thing that you need to do. But what happens? We get so overwhelmed with, I got to market or I got to make more calls or whatever. We never get focused and actually, get down to that one thing. Now, if I get the right coach that has already been there and already knows how to get me there, I just do that one thing, and that's what Gary Keller calls lining up the dominoes. Everything's more likely to happen. Is it easier for me if I get a coach? Yeah. Does it make some things unnecessary, like failing over and over and over? You bet. Of course it does. Number 7 is the process principle. And what I mean by that is that that principle says that a simple process improves phenomenal performance. How many of you found out that this is true? A process takes the pressure off the person. The reason that my business is turnkey, I don't even have to show up there. I love my team. They love me. We're family. But I don't have to be there at all. And the reason that I don't is because we have systems in all 5 of these areas. I wrote a book called The 5 Secrets of a Phenomenal Business. We do a boot camp, a 2-day boot camp where we drill down on these 5 systems. The fact is that you need systems so that you don't have to answer every question over and over, have to tell somebody something over and over. You find the way that works and stick to it, put it on paper, and just keep running it, right? Okay, my friend Steve right here, if you don't happen to own a Lexus, he owns 2 locations where they repair and maintain Lexus automobiles, right? So, Steve, can I ask you a question, please? No. Like, man, I don't want any part of this, right? All right, so I'll answer the questions that I ask you, okay? How about that? All right, so the fact is that if I own a Lexus, beautiful car on the outside, but it won't start, is it going to do me any good?
Not a lot.
Not a lot. Okay, if I have to stop and change the tire, what's that? You hear from Denise every now and then, okay. All right, so the thing is, if I have to stop and change the tire or something's not working, those systems have to work together. And in an automobile, there's about 5 major systems that have to work together. Same thing in your business, all right? We got to have systems that everybody knows what there is required of them when they get there, at lunchtime, after lunch, before they leave, and then the next day, right? You got to have those policies and procedures. Finally, well, there's 2 more after this, but finally we got to take action. So we did all that just to get up to the point where we're going to take action, because how many of you know that you can be busy but not really getting much done? You been there? All right. So the productivity principle says this: persistent, consistent productivity ensures phenomenal performance. You can't perform if you don't act. You don't have to be great to start, but you do have to start to be great. Anything worth doing is worth doing poorly until you can learn to do it well, right? If you don't start. My nephew Jason is in the audience. I need to give you a book. You know why? Because when Jason was 15 years old, he had worn out everybody else's couch and he was sleeping on my couch. We're at church and I wanted to start this coaching business, this consulting business, and wrote a few manuals and I was trying to think of, what to call it, and I was going to have products. I had these manuals and CDs and DVDs and everything. We're thinking about, this product or that product or whatever. We shouldn't have been doing this, but we were passing notes back and forth in church, okay? So obviously the speaker didn't have a handout and was not that, not that great, okay? And that was way before texting and all that stuff, which you shouldn't do in church either. But anyway, so he hands me a note back, and we're on this products thing, and it says, phenomenal products. I was like, woo! That's it. That's the winner. I knew it the second that I saw it. Jason. Now, he didn't have much going on back then, right? So he loves to golf. Were you a phenomenal golfer when you first started? No, I didn't have the money. See? You don't listen, you just need enough money to hire the coach to teach you how to do it. But you do have to learn how to do it, right? So the fact is that if you play golf or any kind of sport or whatever, you're not any good when you start unless you're just a natural. So, but you got to start. You got to do something. By the way, on a side note, phenomenal products. Bill Beckham, my mentor, wisest man that I know, came and spoke at one of my early conferences. I didn't know. I thought my company was named Phenomenal Products because of the manuals, the CDs, and all that. But really what I found out from my mentor is he gets up on the stage and he says, you know, Howard's products are phenomenal, but he said, I'm here to tell you that you're the phenomenal product. I was like, ooh, that's good. I mean, hey, Jesus had this thing figured out way back when, you know. I'm a slow learner. I'm from Alabama. It took me a little while to catch up. So the fact is that vision without action is just a daydream. You can have all the vision in the world. You can have all the wishes in the world. You can have great dreams. But if you don't take action, you're not going to be successful. But here's the worst thing. I love to daydream. I love to sit on the beach and just think of, I'll never be able to use all the ideas that I have, but the worst thing is where most people live, and that is action without vision. Is everybody here busy? My friend Michelle Prince calls it busy being busy. Where are we going? Action without vision is a nightmare because you're going to end up somewhere you never wanted to be or intended to be. Success doesn't happen by accident. Vision plus action, that's success. Number 9 is the progress principle. The progress principle, that says tracking your progress illuminates phenomenal performance. You got to debrief. Everything that you do, every project that you do, every ad that you run, every system that you implement, every script that you implement in your business, everything that you implement, you need to go back and look at it and say, how well is it working? And then that reveals the result. Have you ever been on a trip, international trip, like Jerry travels all over the world, and you see the little GPS flight tracker, right? It tells you how far you've come. Or you're on a trip in your car and you see a little route, you say, I got 2 hours to go on the GPS. We have to do that in our lives. We have to do that in our business. What's the goal? Where do we start from? How are we progressing? One of the tools that we use is called the Ziglar Personal Performance Planner. That's the tool that I use. Something I started doing many, many years ago is just taking 1 hour every day to get focused on my top goals. This is how the Ziglar Planner works, is you take your top 4 goals or projects, you work on them every single day, you take an hour a day and just work on those goals. It might be a health goal, it might be a spiritual goal, it might be a mental goal, whatever it is. Or it may be projects in your business and you work on it every single day. Just take a little bit of action every single day and that'll get you down the road. And finally is the patience principle. The patience principle. Exercising great patience increases phenomenal performance. We quit too soon. We quit about the time something's going to work. We don't stay with it long enough. Oh, this isn't working, so, I'll go try something else. You got to stay with it. I've been so blessed in my life, and on that table back there, I have my very own, very few people in the whole world have this. I have my very own Zig Ziglar pump. You may have seen it on the table when you walked in. And Mr. Ziglar carried that pump everywhere that he went. And he said this. He said, if you pump long enough, hard enough, and enthusiastically enough, sooner or later, the reward will come forth. He also said this. He said, he said, in order to get something out of that pump, you got to put something in before you get something out. He said, you can have everything in life you want if you just help enough other people get what it is that they want. Think about that statement. You can have everything in life. What does everybody want? They want to be happy, healthy, reasonably prosperous. They want to have friends. They want to have peace of mind. They want to have good family relationships. They want to be secure, and they want to have hope for the future. If you help other people get those things, you will have those things. So you got to put something in. And then you got to pump like crazy just to get a little bit. Hey, nothing's coming. Nothing's happening. Man, I'm out networking. I'm out marketing. I'm out doing, and there ain't nothing happening. Yes, there is. It's underneath. It's in here. It's developing, so be patient. Because if you stop, what happens? That water goes all the way back down, and you got to start all over again. But once you get the flow going, don't quit, because at that point in time, when you get your systems in your business, you get these principles in your life, you can just keep a little easy, steady pressure on it, and you'll continue to reap the rewards. Yes? Or yes? All right. Thank you all so much for coming out tonight. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you, Chief. Thank you. I love you, man. I love you.